The education of Jesus. The Bible does not explicitly detail Jesus' education or mention him attending a traditional school or receiving formal training. However, it emphasizes his spiritual insights, wisdom, and ability to teach and interpret Jewish scriptures, which would have required a solid foundation in Jewish religious teachings. In the Gospel of Luke, there is a mention of Jesus at the age of 12 going to Jerusalem with his parents for the Passover festival. During this visit, he engages in discussions with teachers in the temple, impressing them with his understanding and wisdom. The Bible also makes some indications that Jesus could read and write. Also, in the Gospel of Luke, it is mentioned that Jesus went to the synagogue in Nazareth, where he was handed the scroll of the prophet Isaiah. He unrolled the scroll and read it before the congregation. In the Gospel of John, there is a story where Jesus is writing on the ground with his finger while in the presence of a crowd. Also in the Gospel of John, the Jews were astonished, saying, "How has this man become so learned, not having been educated?" But was Jesus educated? The Urantia Book gives us an in-depth look at Jesus' early life and his education. As a child, Jesus asked many questions. The most valuable part of Jesus' early education was secured from his parents in answer to his thoughtful and searching inquiries. It was customary for the father of a male child to be responsible for their education after the age of 5. He traveled with his father, and he learned much from Joseph about carpentry, but also about people and how they lived. Mary had taught him to read and write Aramaic, and Joseph had taught him to read and write in Greek. Much of his spare time was spent studying the flowers and plants by day and the stars by night. At the age of 7, he began his formal education. Soon he would learn to read and write in a third language, Hebrew. Ages 7 to 10, he would attend the elementary school of the Nazareth synagogue. At Nazareth, the pupils sat on the floor in a semicircle, while their teacher, the chazan, an officer of the synagogue, sat facing them. First, they studied the books of law, followed by the prophets and Psalms. He learned to fish from his uncle on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, near Magdala. Before attaining manhood, he had become an expert fisherman. Around this time, he learned to milk the family cow and care for the other animals. He learned to make cheese and weave, and by the time he was 10, he was an expert loom operator. Around the age of 8, he traded dairy products for harp lessons and became a skilled harpist by age 11. Jesus met a teacher of mathematics from Damascus, and learning some new techniques of numbers, he spent much time on mathematics for several years. He developed a keen sense of numbers, distances, and proportions. Ages 10 to 13 would be spent in the advanced school. Nothing but the scriptures were studied prior to the 12th year. He graduated from the school of the synagogue during his 13th year and was turned over to his parents by the synagogue rulers as an educated son of the commandment. The chazan had remarked to Joseph that he feared he had learned more from Jesus' searching questions than he had been able to teach the lad.